Welcome to Nooska.
Hello, and welcome back to Nooska. It is me, EB, and I'm here with Connie.
We made it back.
We're back. Day late and $1 short, but we are here. Right, so last week I told a little fib. I shot my mouth off before I had done the work and told you guys we were going to be doing a Human Stories episode. And we're still going to be doing that, just not today, because I want that episode to be better. And we've got some really cool stuff that's going to be some like submissions, and some friends have given us some stuff, and it's going to be really, really good. So today we're going to do something a little bit different because it's one of those weeks and I don't feel like doing work. So we're going to be doing a casual episode, a relaxed fit, if you will, which is a little head nod to last podcast on the left, which is a personal favorite of mine. And I believe one of Connie's favorites as well.
Yes, and if I could tip my hat to Ed and be like, we're here, you fuckers.
We're here, you fuckers. Anyways, this is a casual episode, as you could tell. No rules today, no notes, no outline. We are just going to be chatting shit and seeing what comes out. We'll talk about some news stories, some current events, our opinions, our thoughts, and then when we're tired of talking, we will end the podcast. And that is what you're in store for. I think we should just start off with probably the biggest thing that I've seen, of course, in my chronically online TikTok world is the Britney Spears and Kevin Federline drama that has just kicked off.
See, and I don't follow it. I'm just seeing it from the outside. And as a parent, like when I hear the way that things have been going, I'm sitting back like, oh my God,
crazy.
These motherfuckers are all traumatized.
Yeah.
Everyone is traumatized.
Everybody.
And all have access to help. So like, what is going on?
It's a mess. It's an absolute mess. For those who don't know, Kevin Federline has just released or is about to release a new book, which details his life with Britney and his relationship with Britney and their experience with Britney as a family. And he's been going on the press tours, giving some interviews and sharing some of the events in the book. And that's got everybody pretty mad. Which, don't forget, I think a year or two ago, Britney released her book with all of her stories in it, her side of the story, and a lot of stuff, weird stuff about Justin Timberlake, apparently. Like, she still keeps a letter from him in a frame under her bed, which is a bit crazy.
I didn't know that, and that is
yeah.
Wow.
But Kevin
That's
Federline's
holding on.
Yeah. Kevin Federline's got a new book out, and he's telling stories about Britney and Justin and him and Britney and stuff that happened with the kids. And it's got a lot of people mad. If you go into any of the comments of the official press for this video, they're horrific. They're calling him everything but the devil, man. Like they hate Kevin Federline. Everybody's hated Kevin Federline for forever, right? And I don't really have any judgments on that because to me, in the early 2000s who experienced it, he came off as a douchebag. But he has kept the kids out of the spotlight, and this is kind of his first time actually speaking up on anything.
This is the first time I've heard about them. Like,
it's the first time. He doesn't give interviews. He doesn't talk about stuff. He's never
he's just silent.
Yeah, his kids weren't even on social media, right? Until they're like 20 now.
That's incredible. I'm sorry, but just from just that fact alone, as a parent, keeping your children off social media is so important when we live in an age where like you've got parents that will put one picture of their kid on their Instagram, see how many people engage with it, and then start getting addicted to all those likes and views and the potential money that comes with it. So like for him to not profit off his children through social media.
Those kids could have been cash cows, and he's kept them out of the spotlight. We're just now starting to see them and hear from them, and they're in their 20s now.
What?
Yeah, they're in their 20s. Her two sons.
Oh my God. No, because that makes me feel old. Please don't say that out loud.
Yeah, they're like, I think they're like 20 and 21 or 20 and 22 or like 18 and 22.
Oh,
wow. They're adults. They're legally adults. And he's just now starting to talk about stuff. And some of the things that were alleged in the book, I'm not going to buy the book because again, I don't want to feed into this beast, as it were, financially, that is the Britney Spears soul sucking black hole of chaos. But this is his kind of first foray into it. And one of the stories that I saw him talk about in the press release was that the kids told him that they woke up in the night one night with Britney just standing in the door holding a knife, watching them sleep.
That is scary.
And she didn't realize they were awake. And when she did realize they were awake, she kind of got startled. She went, "Oh, are you not sleeping? Are you awake?" Something to that effect. And it really scared the kids. And he was using this as an example of this is why the children didn't want to have a relationship. This is why as teenagers they distanced that relationship with their mother, because there's been a lot of crazy stuff. And he also said that everything that's gone on behind the scenes is 10 times worse than anything he shared in the book. He was very explicit about that, about he's not shared the worst. He will not share the worst because he doesn't want to expose his son's mother that way, basically insinuating that there's some bad shit that's
children's trauma too, by the sounds of it. Like, I'm sat back here with parental shock face. Like, I wish
we might have to like take a picture and post it in the picture. Yeah, it's literally a horror film, but he is getting bullying left, right, and center. Like, people are just absolutely railing him and just being like, all you want is child support, because the child support is now ended because he took the kids to Hawaii, which people are also mad at him about. They're like, oh, you just did that because child support there is until they're like 21 or 22 or 23 or something. I see it differently. I see it completely differently.
People are children until they're 25. Your prefrontal cortex isn't even grown until then. So maybe he was just like, no, these kids actually deserve the money that their mum has so that they can live a decent life.
And frankly, I think if you're a celebrity who brings children into the world when you are clearly not ready to, right? And I'm not talking about her mental health. I'm just talking about the place that Britney was in when she started having those children. She had no business having those children. She was way too busy. Her career was absolutely insane. She couldn't go anywhere without the paparazzi absolutely mobbing her. And there was
I grew up hearing about her and her husband and their kids.
It was crazy. That was not the lifestyle to bring children into. So as far as I'm concerned, when you're a celebrity who brings children into that and then they end up growing up in a world of chaos, you should have to pay for them fucking forever. In my personal opinion, if you've got the money for it, you better be giving them something forever. Cause that is just, you know what I'm like, to me, that's just me. That's just me. On the side of the kids, but
I'm a mum. I'm over here like, I don't care how old my kids get. If they need something from me, I will provide it, because
and if I was a multi-millionaire, they'd have trust. I would make sure that they were never gonna, like, you know, they would have to have responsibilities. But like those kids should have goals. Money.
There'd be goals set with each age gap, you know, like by this point, I would like for you to be able to have this kind of education or this kind of whatever, so that you can actively use this money correctly in a safe way that doesn't harm people around you or yourself. Like
100%. Give the kids the money. Like her fans don't want that. Her fans, this is what I think, right? Whatever, I don't know what Kevin's ultimate motivations are, right? Because I don't freaking know him. But I do know I have watched this fandom for years and years and years, specifically the Free Britney fandom. I don't think it's just like Britney Spears fans, because I've had like mega Britney Spears fans that I've been talking to the last day or two talking about this issue, who've been like, I love Britney Spears. She is my favorite thing in the entire world. I think she's a goddess. But he's not lying about this stuff, right? Those I think are Britney Spears fans, right? It's the Free Britney mob who have been horrific about these children since they were young, has said horrific things about them, believes horrific things about them. You go in these comments about, like, in the videos of Kevin Federline on this press tour, and there's people still talking shit about Britney's kids in there, saying they're all like Kevin. They're just greedy, money hungry, disgusting.
Honestly,
they abuse her too.
I'm going to go out on a limb here and just call it for what it is. Is this a large group of white women that don't know how to support like any human other than someone with a pastry puff
100%.
complexion?
100%.
Like, we don't know how to actually build community or support anyone properly, so we're just going to scream at anyone that hates the people that we think are the best in the world.
To me, it's mostly...
like, child support isn't even designated by the person or the person that's paying it. Like, the courts decide that shit. They're the ones that do the calculating. So, like,
but everyone's
it wouldn't matter if Britney
Kevin
was earning... Like, if she's earning lower income one year, then the child support goes down. Like,
he's also had to raise those two. He's raised both of those children since they were infants. She had those kids for like 2 years, and then that was it. He had full custody after that, and she didn't even see the babies. right, for quite a while, because this is when this is when she was shaving her head and running around barefoot in bathrooms and smashing windows and stuff. So they took the kids away.
Call it he'd shaved Britney because of that.
Yeah. So he has raised them to adulthood, and that is a job. I don't care who he was married to,
parenting's
or
a job.
what socioeconomic thing. If you're doing it correctly, it is a job, and whatever it is, he still has to organize for their lives and oversee those children and make sure that they receive whatever care it is that they're getting. So he should be paid for that too. That is a job, and it's this Free Britney thing, and it's just the same as all the other toxic fandoms. It's just absolutely turned into this like monstrous, everything's okay. You can't say, if you say anything like the video I made on TikTok yesterday that started this kind of conversation, all I said was, I'm not a Kevin Federline fan. This is not pro Kevin Federline. I'm not justifying anything he might have done in the past, because he kind of came off as a douchebag to me back then, right? Like I'm not pro him. However, he's kept the kids out of the spotlight. He wants to tell his side of his story for his children about what they all experienced. Like, what? And
if the children are happy with him doing that, at the end of the day, by the sounds of it, they had a part in this process, whether they helped him write the book or not, or they did, they were like, look, don't put these stories in. You can talk about this stuff. Because by the sounds of it, they didn't have social media. No. So
if they did, it was private.
He's respected. He's respected those wishes. So there has to be a point where he's had them a part of the process going, no, Dad, I don't want this in here. I don't want that in there. Yes, you can talk about this. That in and of itself, it seems like he's not trying to, I get it. He's got to make his own money in life now that he doesn't get the child support or whatever. But essentially, if he's been smart with the money for the kids, then he's obviously got savings.
Yeah, his wife works. She's worked the whole time they've been together. They've been together now for 17 years or something, and she's
right. And he hasn't put the raising of his children to a high level superstar on another woman. He's done it himself.
Exactly. He and the kids they went to Hawaii, which is also smart because they were able to disappear from the public eye. They're much easier than if he had kept them in Los Angeles, where Britney's twirling around with knives and dog shit all over the floor. And her videos it made me physically uncomfortable. It made my stomach turn.
Well, on her social medias.
Yeah, her recent videos are fucking dark, dude. It's dark. There's bad stuff going on.
I am not going to venture over there. I do not need that trauma.
I'll share some of them on the Patreon, but no, it's she was wearing one of her dresses from 2001, and she keeps doing these really weird spins, and she's got bandages on her hands, bandages on her
2001. We're not even into that era of bringing that fashion back yet, Britney.
She cuts the crotch out of it, and she posts 3 of the same video with weird music over the top of each one. And then in one of them, she's got the crotch cut out of the dress. She cut this little, so it looks like this, she's got this flap right over her genitalia. It's really dark, dude. I went and watched all of them, and she spends a lot of time in Mexico. I think there's a serious alcohol problem. She also speaks in weird accents. She never talks like her. She always talks in a weird accent. Sometimes it's British, and then sometimes it's Spanish, and she never seems sober. She posts these really weird videos falling over
silly accents, but then there's always a level of
she's not joking. Yeah. She's not joking when she's doing them.
Exactly. There's using because it was someone with a kids and myself, ADHD, autistic, using echolalia. It can be fun. It can be a fun thing. But if you're actively choosing to have a full-on conversation and an accent
she'll repeat herself.
You don't have.
Yeah. When
that is terrifying.
What did you say? She'll repeat herself. And they're these. And again, here's the thing, right? I don't have any problem with Britney just spending all day twirling in a mirror with knives if that's what she wants to do. But there's something odd about this behavior that's compulsive or obsessive. And I think there's maybe some substance abuse going on. She seems in most of the videos when she's in Mexico, she seems drunk. And she's got what looks like stainage from the crotch area on these silk dresses, and she's just like walking around with this open stainage in the front and the back, and she can't stand up straight, and she's like trying to flip her hair, and she falls over, and it's just like really
like we've talked about like the addiction to the spotlight before. In our last episode, we talked about how the addiction to spotlight can be so dangerous, and if you've got trauma and you have potential mental health issues and substance abuse issues, like
she recently burned down.
There you go. Like that all sets you up for like the cycle that puts you in a position where you are not in one, you're not safe, and two, you're doing shit that literally puts you in more precarious positions and has people
100%
talking about you, literally.
100%. And I think a big part of it, she should not be on social media. I think she turns the comments off on most of the videos.
If you're drunk, you shouldn't have your phone. Like, I'm sorry. If you're drunk, even if you've been like, if you're wasted, go put your phone down. You should be scrolling, not posting.
I think there's one video in Mexico as well where there's tons of white powder all over the floor. I mean, it could be baby powder or something, but it's just the behavior is really weird. The video is really, really weird. She's like cuts videos.
She's not baking. She's not cooking.
And look, again, I think part of her not being in this conservatorship should have required her not being on social media. Because I think when she posts these videos, she turns the comments off because obviously people are like, what the fuck is going on here, right? What the hell is this? Britney, are you okay? So she turns the comments off, but she still gets all the likes. And I think that's all she cares about anyway, is the likes, which gasses her up and tells her, well, I can keep doing this. I'll just keep in this train of behavior. I think if she didn't have that access to social media, she might be more likely to be like, oh, shit, this is, maybe I should go and talk to somebody.
Yeah, or maybe I understand her not being under conservatorship, does she not have a manager?
I don't know.
Does she not have someone because I don't think so. Even the most new to social media people that start getting famous, the first thing they do is get someone to help them navigate what being on social media actually looks like, and how this how
I fear Britney has now been told that's you're in charge. I fear Britney, in the current mental state that she's in, has now been told you are the boss and no one can tell you no now. You can do whatever you want. The conservatorship's over. You can do whatever you want. It's
terrifying when you have that level of popularity naturally. She has been followed and cult followed. It's as bad as the Spice Girls. People fall over for the Spice Girls.
Yeah.
And Britney Spears is the same level, and it's and the new generations might not quite understand it the same. And I can't believe I'm saying that. That makes me feel so fucking old right now. But we grew up sitting in front of a TV screen that you had to change the channel with a freaking knob, watching Britney Spears dance, watching her sing, watching that red latex. That
she
was
couldn't go anywhere. She would get mobbed anywhere she went.
She was so famous. If you even remotely managed to dress like her, people would you were the most popular person at school. If you could sing her songs, oh my God, she was massive. And this was at such pivotal points for so many people's upbringing that she gained a cult following that has lasted lifetimes. I'm a metalhead though. So I did not continue that cult.
No, I did not. I didn't either. No, I was out of there pretty quick. Yeah.
No, that was definitely young times. And I know my gay brother was very much into Britney and still was very, he was very much, but not participating. But I know he watched the whole Free Britney stuff and mentioned it to me a couple times. And I'm like, okay, cool. Hope she gets help.
I suspect, just like I suspected the Ariana Grande hardcore fans, that they're not actually the fans that they claim to be, and they want.
I shouldn't be allowed to talk about that woman because I do not have a nice thing to say, and it's purely because she What?
Who, Ariana
Wait.
Grande? Hey, at least she's donated to Palestine, and she posts anti-Trump, anti-MAGA stuff, and she posts resources.
Oh, cool. You're trying to save your ass after you stole someone's dude out from underneath them. Like, what?
I don't think I would want to be friends with her necessarily.
Like, I'm sorry, a broken clock can be right twice a day.
That's true.
You can be anti-genocide, but that doesn't mean that you're not a piece of shit. That's like saying Andrew Tate's a good person. Because that, like, do you know what I mean? Yeah, apparently he's anti-genocide.
What?
Which is great. We love an anti-genocide, but like I just said, a broken clock can be right twice a day. We can acknowledge that
something
that
has happened.
Is broken.
Something has happened because Marjorie Taylor Greene is now anti-genocide and pro Epstein Files getting released.
Marjorie Taylor Greene.
My brain is like a right-wing American politician, MGT or MTG if you look her up. She was like crazy Cocoa Banana Puffs, nutbag, right wing, anti-vaccine.
Like, I mean, I can't.
Absolutely mental. Pro, like Trump.
I'm a big believer in like you can change your mind and you can do better, but that doesn't mean you should still have the platform. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, she something happened when she went into because she's like high up in the Republican Party because she was such a big scandalous sensation because she's, no COVID vaccines and like really crazy. Like vaccines give you autism.
Oh God.
Yeah, one of those. Yeah, one of those. But she went into a committee meeting a few months ago for the Epstein Files, and the media was outside the chamber doors, and she came out sobbing and like ran down the hallway and disappeared. And since then, she's come out. And
Does she have a husband?
We shouldn't be giving.
Was her husband on the list? Was her husband on the list?
Don't know. I actually don't know. I actually don't know if she is married because there's been a bunch. Anyway.
Oh no. Actually, I shouldn't even say that because we know that those right wing women are never really married or anything, Bingo. And if they are, they're in like despaired fucking marriages because like they are too much of a pick-me and they have a voice, and men that want pick-me's that are dead inside and silent.
Yeah, I think she might be suppressing some stuff is the vibes that I get from her personally, but
right. Yeah,
one of those.
When you go from
the gym teacher.
When you're like you're gay,
you're Christian,
but you
gym teacher
so hard that you become a danger to everything around you.
Exactly.
No, I know
those are the vibes I get from her. So yeah, Marjorie Taylor Greene, she went to this committee meeting, Epstein Files, when all this started kicking off about them actually, the Justice Department getting pressured to actually release them, and she came out in tears. And since then, she has been straight up like, we need to stop giving money to Israel, no more money to Israel. This is a genocide. Release the Epstein Files immediately. The victims need to make their own list. They need to out every single person who's on that list. Like, she's just been very much like, they all need to go. And she's suddenly turned like anti-Trump. It's crazy.
So when Epstein's Black Book first came out, right, which was years ago, like my kid was like my oldest kid. I didn't even have my second kid at this point.
Yeah.
I had a friend who managed to get it because like you couldn't get it in a few countries and you needed like a VPN
it was on like a Files
whatever. Yeah, so he managed to get it. He spent like 4 months stacked up in his room, literally like researching every single name in that book and the amount of multi-billionaires.
That's when I read that. That's when I found out this whole Elon Musk is the richest man in the world. No, he's not.
No, he's the most in the public eye richest man. And I'm not huge on conspiracy theories. I was when I was younger, but that shit will rot your brain and put you straight on a right-wing pathway that is danger filled.
Yeah.
But when I tell you, he was making like full-on infographics and was like, see, look, I remember him saying, see, look, this guy, he's in this picture with this famous person, but he's not actually on the thing. He's at the place, but he's not in the pictures on like when you look for that online, you won't see him at all. Website, but when you look for him directly, he, and these are all like, like tycoons of like massive companies and things like that you'll never see their face unless you actually know them by name to look them up. So fucking scary.
Yeah,
like,
I've been telling people this for years because there was a financial guy on TikTok and of course he disappeared, but that's what he used to say. He used to tell people like, you have no idea who the richest people are in the world. There are people that have more money in one bank account, so to speak, than Elon Musk has ever seen in his entire life. He was talking about some guy sent him like a custom gold Lamborghini like 15 minutes after he hung up a call, when he had like helped make the guy a bunch of money in some fund that he had moved the money between, and 15 minutes later somebody knocked on his door and they had a fucking gold Lamborghini for him in a crate, like in his driveway. The crazy shit. And he's like, the people that you think are the richest people in the world that you see, like Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk,
that
and everybody
makes me
fights
think
about.
of the there's this fucking cartoon that's on I think it's on Netflix, and it's about like a captain for a cruise ship who's like super stupid, absolutely blind to what's happening on this cruise ship, but essentially like rich people like order things through this cartel or whatever. And like there was one where this guy like had ordered some like tribe to be shipped into a human zoo or something like that. And I'm like, all I can think of when you say like a Lamborghini getting shipped that quickly, I'm like, oh my God, like
absolutely insane. Like he basically said that the actual richest people in the world could just buy and sell Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk like it was nothing to them. They wouldn't even blink. They would still have other bank accounts full of money. So it's
but that's
very
the thing,
interesting.
like if the world starts turning to shit, what the fuck is money gonna do?
Nothing.
The fuck is money gonna do?
They're building bunkers underground, because the money ain't gonna do shit. It's not gonna do anything. But I went through that list as well, and that's going through that black book is how I learned that like the Habsburg family is still around, which is absolutely insane.
Okay, you're the history buff. You've got to fill me in, because I'm like, who?
The Habsburgs were a German family that essentially took over all the European royal families by marrying
that is
off and marrying
terrifying.
their cousins. Yeah. So like the current British family, they're essentially a Habsburg family. They're Germans. They're not actually like British.
Oh my God, what? No, because I knew that they were like Austrian or something like that, and they were like, because I knew there was like there's like a whole thing about them being usurpers or something.
Yep, and she married like a cousin. The Habsburgs all would get into royal families and then start marrying their cousins to keep the bloodlines pure. And that started all the way back. They did this all the way back in like, I think they started in like the 1300s or something, or the 1100s. Like the Habsburgs, it's way far back. And this family still exists. They still have an insane amount of money. They still control a bunch of stuff. And they were
Do they have giant chins? Do they have the giant chin defect?
Actually, I did go and look up a couple of them and started following them quietly on Instagram. Not just the Habsburgs, but some of these other old money people that showed up in this list. And they only have like 150 followers or 1,500 followers. They're not like, yeah. But some of them do. You could tell. They don't have like, they're not like Charles, like the French King Charles with the tongue hanging out and stuff. But it's quite pronounced. It's quite pronounced. You would not mistake them for what they are. They stay out of the public eye. Why is that? I wonder. Why is that? Why is a 700-800-year-old family that silently took over every royal house in Europe so quiet? Why do they want to be so quiet?
Because what happened to those? I remember you mentioning I think it was when I was listening to last podcast on the left, when they were talking about the Russian oligarch family and what happened to them when they finally lost power.
The Romanovs.
Because of the Romanovs, right, and how they were treated. Yeah, see? And like how they were treated. Like, of course, if they were found to still exist with the amount of wealth that they have, people without having lost that, like they're not in the public eye with their name anymore, but they still have the same wealth and power and pull. People will fucking lose their minds. A lot of these
old families as well, I found, because when I was spiraling off, and if you still talk to your friend, you can ask him this, because he'll tell you the same thing. A lot of these old money families that are on that list, which are all the names you expect, a lot of them own banking institutions that the other billionaires use. So they're protecting the money for the other, and they're helping them move the money around and do the investments and do the shell companies and all of that stuff. I followed the Habsburgs, and there was the other big expected family names that were in there that you would expect that own financial institutions that were helping move this money around. And that's how they were tied to Jeffrey Epstein, because they were moving money around for him. So it's a big club, and we ain't in it.
Yeah.
But it's been weird seeing Marjorie Taylor Greene especially turn around and be so spooked. So that's why I'm convinced, and I keep telling everybody, the reason the Epstein files are not coming out has nothing to do with the pedophilia. They don't care about that. That's basically out in the open. Trump just said in an interview, they're now saying it could be signs of proof that he has dementia. I'm not getting into heaven. He said, I've done way too much bad stuff to get into heaven. He's like, oh, you know what I mean? After he just made that comment about one of the victims the other day as well.
Wait, but weren't they like, weren't all the Christians like, he's our savior. He's Christ
you can go and watch the video. He's on Air Force One and he laughs and says, I'm not getting in. I've done way too much bad stuff to get into heaven. Not going to happen at all. I think it's going to be MK Ultra, because it's going to be our generation's MK Ultra, because Jeffrey Epstein was doing some weird stuff. There's stories that there was gynecological
he was
facilities.
he was doing Hitler-esque shit, wasn't he? Because there was that whole thing about him wanting to
he wanted to breed a super race.
Yeah, there it is. He wanted
to breed a super race. Yeah. So allegedly, the reason why we can't get our hands on all the footage, because they went and raided the ranch he's got. I think it's in Albuquerque, New Mexico. They went and raided that ranch, and allegedly they had full gynecological facilities. And like
terrifying.
Yeah.
No, because there was a whole thing a while back where they found a facility where women were being forced to have babies.
Bingo. Yeah, that was in The Guardian as well. I shared that on my TikTok. I shared that article on my TikTok. But I think it's going to be like MK Ultra stuff. And if you couple that with the birthday book, where you had scientists, and this is courtesy of last podcast on the left, actually. I think it was in one of the side stories where they shared this. There were scientists writing little coded messages in there that 15 is the perfect age. So I think that it's very possible that they were experimenting with impregnating children. Yeah.
Yuck.
That's what I think.
Yuck.
I think there's going to be stuff like that. I think there's maybe going to be experimentation on children,
That is terrifying. He was
trying to breed a super race, so he's going to want to see what the insides are like of things.
That's messed up, because that's where you get because we're only finding out now through science that women's eggs are actually fine. Yeah. They're fine till the fucking menopause and probably after, right?
Yeah.
But it's men and their testosterone, and not their testosterone, that's wrong. It's men and their sperm. Sorry, it is late here. Wrong word. But we know too that when men get to a certain age, their testosterone does dip. That's why older men are actually kind to children, because they don't have too much testosterone and they don't want to fight them to death. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, no.
Oh my God, men go through a menopause. Men go through their own menopause. I shit you not. I found about this the other day, and it's when they hit about 30, 35, there's a whole cognitive thing that starts happening, and that's when you get all those irritable, fucked off men that are pissed off at nothing all the fucking time.
That explains so much, honestly.
I know.
Explains
I'm they get it so early too.
That explains everything, actually. That explains everything. Yeah. But yeah, I think because when the MK Ultra files came out, people didn't believe it because it was so messed up that people were like, no way, the government wouldn't do that. Absolutely not. Right? It was so shocking.
I got that sound. And when you think the government wouldn't do that, yes, they would.
100%. That's exactly what I was thinking.
I mean, the current governments that are all conservative are literally gutting everything at every fucking turn that they possibly can. America is literally trying to have their whole government's closed right now because they have a bill that's trying to gut the healthcare system. You've got here in Aotearoa, you've got the 3-headed fucking penis trap that's running us. That's basically shutting down so much. So many Kiwis have left the country.
Really?
That the numbers that show that we're doing bad aren't even correct, because so many people have left and we don't have the numbers for how bad they're doing, because they were going to be doing bad under what's happening.
That's terrifying.
Literally, people are fleeing in droves.
That's insane. That's happening everywhere. Everyone's trying to leave America as well, from what I hear from real estate agents and things like that, which makes sense. It's understandable. It's very understandable. But
I mean, like, when you told me though that you still have to pay taxes as an American that's left America, I was like, that's fucked.
Yeah, one of only two countries. It's like us and Iran or something like that, are the only two countries that have to do that.
I don't know enough about Iran for that though. Like, I don't know if that's like an economy thing and like they need, like, I don't know.
It might be like Turkmenistan actually or something like that. It's one of those. It's either one of the major Middle Eastern powerhouses, or it's like one of the smaller Middle Eastern countries that were also probably under Soviet control at some point, like Uzbekistan or Turkmenistan or something like that.
You're the history buff. My brain's like, oh, really?
It's like one of those.
I learn new things.
Middle Eastern, it's one of those. It might be North African. I think it's Middle Eastern though, like a Middle Eastern Soviet kind of country. But there's only two countries in the world that require their citizens to still pay taxes to the motherland when they leave.
Oh wow.
It's America and somebody else. It's a scam. It's a giant MLM plantation scam.
For sure. As soon as they couldn't do slavery out loud, they were like, "How do we do it in the darkness of everyone's faces?
Everyone
like
do it
everywhere."
yeah. How do we do it quietly and also enslave every single person that lives here? How do we do that? Let's do that.
Yeah.
I said that on Twitter. I used to just be shooting off my mouth all the time on Twitter for Elon Musk. And I said that a few years ago. I was like, they didn't get rid of slavery. They just fucking expanded it. And you guys are talking about like women's liberation in America. They just expanded slavery for you too. They just made you a taxpayer. Like you didn't get any extra rights. You just got the right to now work and pay taxes to the government while also still being responsible for everything else that you were already expected to do, giving birth, taking care of your family.
Over here. I'm pretty sure it was over here, and like I know for well that it was white women trying to get white women's votes, right? I get that, I understand that, but I'm pretty sure the whole like women voting started over here.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, like
there's
like some lady on the $10 bill or $10 bill, something like that. Kate Shepherd or some shit. Yeah,
I actually just learned this the other day. Turns out, women's suffrage started in Corsica in 1736, it was 17 something. It was in Corsica, which is a Greek island, and I don't remember who had control of it first, but then like I think the British had it, and then maybe like the Spanish or somebody took it, and there was all these people kept coming in and taking over Corsica, so they started rebelling, and they wrote their own constitution in the 1700s, and it was the first ever written constitution that had full women's suffrage. Women were seen as fully equal. They had voting rights. They could hold power. And they had I love Rousseau. The famous French philosopher Rousseau actually write the Constitution for them. And eventually it didn't work out because they got taken over again by, I think, the British or something like that. But their Constitution was the Constitution that was used as the basis for the American Constitution when it was written in 1776, but they left out women's suffrage because they were slave owning.
And we'll caveat this all with this is white people's trash history. This is not indigenous cultures were already had women in power and doing all of the things and being in charge of all of the things for a long fucking time. Like
pre-Christianity.
Just took the idea. Like it's not something that like just because it's written in a book, it didn't exist prior. It definitely existed prior. It's just white people were like, hey, I would like that too.
Oh yeah,
I'm going to steal that.
I should preface when I say anything like, oh, this was the first suffrage, I'm talking about post-Abrahamic or like Abrahamic religions are the ones that have fucked us to this point. Like they are the worst thing that ever happened to the human species. Freaking out. I'm not saying the human species was great before, right? Like Alexander the Great was pillaging cities, but you would be surprised how much more things made sense back then than they did after Abrahamic religions. Made everything way worse. Way worse. Way worse.
I'm gonna fudge the number because it's in the single digit, but 5 or 7 AD, Maori had sailed to Antarctica.
Mm-hmm. That doesn't surprise me.
That's like massive. That's huge. Insane. Like no one was visiting there.
No.
They were like, bet, let's go.
Did they mean to, or did they just end up down there?
Yeah,
I wouldn't go there on purpose.
They had extensive knowledge of the stars. Like,
they obviously knew which direction they were going.
This is one of my favorite things, right? Is that there is snippets of multiculture throughout so many different indigenous populations from history that you like, because of the trade routes that they already had established before Britain was like, we're going to fucking try to colonize you. Even indigenous Palestinians had what would look like a kowai, which is the I hate saying it's a tattoo, but the markings on the chin and face of like men and women, but the kowai specifically on the women, and it's on the chin area. And so like there's so much I don't know, like that intertwining that was already there for like so much longer. Yeah.
I actually read the other day when I was reading about Alexander the Great, which was fascinating to me, is that they can't say this for concrete because they have not found the Venetian records of it, unfortunately.
Right.
But there are stories that the Venetians had actually, or was it the Venetians? I think it was the Venetians, had already, no, it's not the Venetians. It was the, what are they called? The blinds, the blinds that you have in a house that you pull up and down with a string. What are those called? Are they not Venetian blinds, are they?
Well, I think they are.
Are they Venetian blinds? Maybe it was the Venetians. I'm going to get the people wrong. But anyways, one of the ancient seafaring empires, they had already circumnavigated the globe, they think. Or they had at least gone around Africa and had already made it to North America. But because they don't have the record of the actual sailors, they just have stories in the ancient world of people saying this happened. We can't say that for concrete, but the ancient world was so much more connected and advanced, I think, than a lot of us want to think. And I would not be shocked at all because, I mean, Alexander the Great almost stood on the shores of China looking out over the sea. You know what I mean? I wouldn't be surprised if there's way more interaction between these peoples than some of us like to pretend, especially trade-wise.
Yeah, well, that was like the whole point with colonization, right? Like take away every story possible so that they could rewrite history. Because as the saying goes, history is written by the victor, not the oppressed.
Yeah.
So
I got into a fight with a douchebag the other day, but he was making the whole point of, well, why are you guys just bitching about colonization now when it's the British or, the Americans? We've been doing this for forever. We've been doing this for thousands of years. We've been doing this since the Roman Empire, yada, yada, yada. And I had to point out that, okay, those people had empires. They technically took over places, but they didn't colonize them, right? Because here's the thing. The Romans would just take on. So if the Romans conquered a city, they would adopt the language, they would adopt the forms of dress, they would incorporate the gods into their things. No one had to change the way they did language. They didn't have to change their money. They didn't have to change anything. As long as they were willing to
power
pay.
Structure.
Yeah, and it was the same thing with Alexander the Great. Everywhere they went, they would incorporate different cultures, more cultures, more cultures, more cultures. The Persian Empire, the Persians at the time spoke Farsi, like ancient Farsi, like that kind of a thing.
Yeah.
When the Persians took over, they noticed that anybody who spoke the native language would end up in government and would end up with the power and would end up with the money. So the Persian, like the king, the great king, and all of his ministers and leaders and stuff, his advisors, changed the national language to the common poor people's language and made everybody speak. You all had to speak that common language in order to take part in government, to trade, to do markets, to do anything.
So everyone could actually participate and know what was being said.
Bingo.
Oh my God, that's cool.
They changed their whole language to Akkadian. The government language was Akkadian, which was like...
that makes me think about how there was actually a law that they've passed to stop doing things in plain language here, which blocks out so many people from being able to access different things.
That's the difference.
And there's a point to it, right? Like it
White
stops
supremacy.
people that aren't educated. I'm doing quotations, right? To be able to access the care, support, and the things that they would need to exist as a happy, healthy human.
Yeah.
Wow.
And these ancient empires didn't do that. They always incorporated. They didn't expect people to assimilate to them. They assimilated to these people who they brought into the empire. And it consistently happened. It was the Persian Empire. The Macedonians did it. You would go to Egypt, and if you were a Greek in Egypt, you could go to temples where they had your gods and their gods, and they had incorporated the stories together and would tell you why they were friends and how they were friends, and you could worship whoever you wanted to worship. Like the multi-level things. And that's the point I'm trying to make. Like, yes, humans have been violent pieces of shit for forever, but it's this white supremacy colonization. It's this, we are trying to
it's the slavery
humans
aspect.
into a
It's
homogenous
the
blob.
it's
not
the
how we function.
Never has been. No, it's true, because like you've got that whole like point where they start, they turned any poor white person into that mentality where they think that they're just as high up as the oppressor as well. Like that's where that whole, like, that's where you get a whole bunch of crusty bleach demon humans that are like, they're like, oh, I have to support this billionaire because like I could be a billionaire one day. They're just like me. They shit and wipe their ass. No cunt. They have a fucking gold-plated bidet.
Yeah.
What do you fucking mean? You're closer to poverty on the street and alcoholism and needles than you are to a fucking billionaire. What?
Ancient Athens, when they realized they had a problem with rich people only running the city, and like the philosophers and the rich guys would just go in the forum and they would talk about things, and they weren't actually helping the actual people that lived and worked on the streets in Athens. So they created a system of government in which it started with 250 individuals selected from the city, and those individuals, everybody would get a day. You're in charge of Wednesday, October 13th. Or whatever it was, and that was your day, and for that day you made the decisions for the city. You were basically like the king of the city, and these were common people, and it went through everybody, and eventually they expanded it to like 500 people, and it was, by the time they got taken down, like the city got taken over, and a tyrant into this system of government, it was up to 500
many shifts
people.
of change, though, could happen.
Yep, and they did. The people were actually represented because there was a human that you lived next door to that was in charge one day. You know what I mean?
Hey, bro, next week I'm up. What are we doing? What are we implementing? Do we need something over in this street? What's happening over at Jimmy's house?
Yes, exactly. And I'm not saying it was perfect, right? Because in Athens specifically, women didn't have voting power. But then you also see things across the ancient empires, like, well, women weren't voting in Athens, but then you would go 2 city-states over and women ran the whole thing and were in charge of the whole city. Also, in one of the most famous sea battles of all time, Artemisia, one of the great heroes of that was a woman who had her own fleet. She was a captain of her own fleet.
Badass.
So, obviously, women... not this whole, which is also, it's been told to us by Christian historians, right, who definitely have an angle, who are like, oh no, women had no rights in the ancient world. They had no rights. Well, they want you to think that. It's way more complicated than that. I mean,
wasn't there that lady who like commanded a shit ton of birds to like burn down a whole fucking town because some guy was a piece of shit to her?
Alexander the Great conquered a whole region that he was going to avoid for a woman that he was friends with. He didn't have a sexual relationship with her. He looked at her like a mother, and he came across her in his campaign, and she went, I've been screwed here, buddy. That's my city. That's mine. My family owns it, and they kicked me out because I'm a woman. And he went, bet. And he went and just basically burned the whole thing down and gave it back to her and gave her a bunch of soldiers and was like, here you go. Thanks for being cool.
This is my gay best friend. I got her a whole town because she used to live there, but they didn't like her, so we fucked shit up.
So they obviously didn't, because they were willing for women to be in power. So they, you know what I mean? It's way more complicated than we've been led to believe. But the colonization, I think that's the point that people should take on, is this colonization that we've been talking about that started, with the British Empire and everything else. It is so much more sinister than these empires, these ancient empires, because of that.
This is where we go full circle. This is where that behavior is leaking into literally everything people do, where you've got these mobs that are like, free Britney, but they don't actually understand the core aspect of like helping someone get out of that sort of stuff. And then also the way that they are absolutely attacking those children that are like do not deserve to be spoken to like that. They literally deserve to just live a happy, healthy life, and people are treating them like shit because they want to go to bat for some crusty white lady who like peaked at 25.
Yeah, it's tribalism. It's a tribalist kind of mentality. People just want to. I'm starting to realize that social media, entertainment as it is now, the media, the entertainment media, it is just basically an execution pyre. It's a pyre that people come to. You want to tune in, watch someone get burned at the stake, and then you'll be back next week to watch the next person get burned at the stake. It's
what is that movie, Death Race? It's Death Race with extra
very
steps.
That. Yeah, it's very, very that. So that's why, like, I don't take things seriously. I got asked 3 times to be on Pierce Morgan like a few months ago, and not doing it. Yeah, not doing it. And then also
that motherfucker will trap you into the dumbest fucking arguments for no fucking reason.
There would be no good that could come out of it. Would I get a lot of attention? No. Absolutely. Do I want that attention? Absolutely not.
No.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. It's the same thing. The what's his name? Dr. Phil. The Dr. Phil show tried to get me twice as well.
Or I would go on Dr. Phil just to headbutt him. He is a dick. He is a dick.
Is he really a doctor?
No, he's not legally a doctor. He's not even legally a psychiatrist. No, bro never fucking, like, again, another one who peaked once he got his dick sucked. Like, what?
One thing you don't want to do is put a Southerner on a stage with another Southerner they hate. It does not go well. It's just not. There's no good's gonna come.
I'm a Southerner from a different fucking country too, so like the rules are different here, buddy. Headbutts are all round.
But yeah, it is. It's all, and it's just sad to see Britney's kids, you know, as now, well, we're going to put them on the pyre. It's just.
No, but like, I hope they don't. I hope they just step back and they're just like, let's just not. Like, they've already not engaged in like the whole social aspect. Don't you dare.
I really hope. I think and I hope that maybe Kevin Federline is an example of a guy who actually grew up. The more I learn, the more I'm kind of thinking he sounds like someone who genuinely grew up and did what he was supposed to do, which is what we hound people to do. So maybe we should give him a little bit of grace and just kind of hear things out, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, like, maybe give him the chance.
That's the whole point, right? We're supposed to be able to let people try and be the parents that they want to be.
Yeah.
And if they have access to the information to be able to do so, then like, it's up to them. Like, and obviously by the looks of it from the outside, with what I have been told by yourself and all that, is he's doing, from what it looks like, the right things. He's kept his kids off social media. He's waited until they're adults, or I like to say 25 as an adult because that whole prefrontal cortex thing, but he's waited until they're able to turn around and be like, yeah, Dad, you can go do the thing now, because at the end of the day, like we're not. Obviously they're not writing books. They could have written books by now. They're old enough to go do that. They you know, capable, obviously. Yeah. So they're letting him tell their story. Mm-hmm. Like he's trying.
I'm gonna listen and just kind of see what shakes out. It's very, very clear there's something not right with Britney, and I don't think she I'm not saying she never should have been let out of the conservatorship. I've seen a lot of those comments on my social media with people being like, she never should have been freed. She never should have been enslaved because she's a person, right? Like, even if she's disabled, she has a right to like choose.
She deserves access to like good care, like any human being does. But to refuse that care and continue to behave in a way that is detrimental to not just her own physical and mental health, but to her children's and to her entire brand, I guess, if we want to talk about it in that sort of aspect, like, no, she needs help. Someone needs to actually just be like, get help.
She needs to not be on social media, because I think that just kind of validates where she's at. It's just sad. The whole thing is just absolutely tragic, top to bottom. I just really hope people just leave the kids out of it. Just treat it like a housewives conversation. If you're one of those people and you're listening to this and you're someone who likes to get in the comments and fight and bully over entertainment and pop culture, fine, that's fine. Housewives rules. Kids are off the table. Don't talk about the kids. Shut up about the kids. You talk about husbands. Don't talk about the kids. That's what I think. And these poor kids, man. These poor fucking kids. Well, we'll see what happens. I'm not going to buy the book or anything because I don't want to financially contribute to that, but I'll listen to the interviews and just kind of weigh it against Britney's going to be tragic.
That's on you, man. I don't follow enough of that social
I only do because of my TikTok.
Yeah, my brain falls apart when I listen to that stuff. I'm like, oh, wow. But I guess I understand keeping up with it, right? Yeah. Because at the end of the day, we live in a culture that platforms these people and uses that and utilizes that to control the masses. And what did Britney do? She had an entire mass of people go absolutely batshit for her and free dangerous. Britney.
It's very dangerous.
And people need to look at it from an outside perspective, right? At the end of the day, thousands and thousands of people were manipulated in a way that put a person on a platform who potentially is not healthy enough to be in that platform to then continue to help those people let themselves be manipulated and pretend like they're doing something good when they're actually not, because you're platforming one person, one crusty bleach demon over, I don't know, thousands of Black, brown, and Indigenous voices that should be platformed because they actually know what they're fucking talking about and doing. But no, they didn't make songs through the 90s. They didn't shave their head and have an entire thing named after them because of it. God.
It's got to be, if I genuinely think after just sitting and watching her, it's going to be a tragedy if someone doesn't step in soon and actually try to compassionately help her. I think a good step would not, and I'm not saying someone needs to come in and force pills down her throat and lock her up. That's not what
everyone
I'm
deserves
saying.
Compassion.
Yeah, I'm saying someone needs to come in, get her off social media first and foremost. I think that would be a great way to help her find some clarity, is if she could just be off social media for a little while and didn't have people hitting the like button every time she does something horrible and crazy. I don't think she understands that people want to watch her burn. I think she thinks if I get a like, that's a fan telling me good job. I'm going to keep doing it. So there we go. That's our episode for the week. Nice casual. We'll have to come up with some name for this, some casual shit talk name. Britney Spears. What else do we cover? Marjorie Taylor Greene, Epstein, lots of stuff, lots of goodies, lots of good stuff.
We went to Rome and back.
We did had a little history lesson, quick history. Always, if you're stuck talking to me, history's going to come up. That's just unfortunately the way things are. We'll be back next week at some point with an episode. I'm not going to make any promises this time because we have a couple of ideas brewing, and we're going to give you some good Halloween-y kind of things.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, which is going to be very
stuff
fun.
Is
very
in
excited.
The works.
We might do that one for the
next
episode.
Not absolutely absoluting ourselves to anything because we have PDA, and that means we will probably not want to do it if we say it out loud. So we're not saying it out loud because we're just doing things.
Lesson learned. So you'll get an episode next week, and it might be one thing or it might be another thing, and hopefully you'll be there. Hopefully you'll be there to listen to that thing that we talk about, because that's what it's going to be. So that is going to be it for this episode. Connie, do you want to say anything to close out? All right, guys, we'll talk to you next week. Remember, follow us on the social media things. We're on Instagram, all that jazz. And you can also follow our podcast and give us a nice review on Apple and Spotify and all the good stuff. And you can join our Patreon if you want to help us grow this podcast and see some extra fun stuff. Got some extra videos and photos and all that good stuff from the episode.
Yeah, so that I don't have to learn how to animate and stuff.
Bingo. So support us on Patreon, please, please, please. And yeah, we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.